So, what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here.
And this is other Ryan here.
Hey everyone, Razbowski here.
What's going on, guys? Dorko here.
And today we're back for once again another Theory Thursday, so thank you very much for joining us, guys. We're going to be discussing the newest image on scottgames.com. Now, to you guys, what does this new image represent?
Well, first of all, we need to know who this is, and obviously from Scott's IndieDB page. Is that right, IndieDB?
Yeah, that's
the
it.
one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's been named Nightmare Bonnie, so we know this to be like either a new set of animatronics or previous animatronics that have been modified to look the way they do now.
Yeah, and it's great that we've got Bonnie in the game as well, because Bonnie has been a staple to the games so far, and it's a little bit of a shame we didn't see the original Bonnie in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. We did have Springtrap, which was Golden Bonnie, but this looks like it's more towards the traditional Bonnie that we know and love, the purpley version of him.
As you can see, it's got the same style as the old teaser of Freddy. It's got the same, if you remember last time, we always thought that it did have 5 fingers or 4 fingers, but it's now confirmed that they both have 5 fingers. They've got the same sharp nails, they've got the same sharp teeth. They look in the same withered state as well as each other.
Yeah, I think this newest image was quite interesting because there was a lot of controversy originally about the 5 fingers, wasn't there? Because on the Freddy guy, you can actually see the 5 fingers, so this guy looks like he's almost been posed in such a manner where it's really obvious he's definitely got the 5 fingers.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's going to be less confusion with the community, and I suppose that leaves a lot of questions towards the endoskeleton and just the generation of these animatronics, because it seems like after sort of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, that's kind of when the generations went to these 4-fingered animatronics and the 5 fingers dissipated. So yeah, it definitely makes me think that maybe these guys are from the past rather than, you know, the present.
I don't know, I was thinking maybe it could just be because apparently Nightmare is a very important factor in what we're seeing. So the fact that that's really important. I mean, I know Raz done a video that a subscriber sent into him basically saying that the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 will be from the standpoint of the victim of the bite of 87 in an induced coma who's experiencing these nightmares. So I don't know, I think that maybe your mind is going to play a lot of like a huge factor in this game, I believe.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, the whole nightmare theme, yeah.
With all the games already, we know Scott's a big fan of the hallucinations. We've got Golden Freddy, we've got the It's Me's popping up on your screen. We've got, obviously, the actual Phantom animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 as well. So I think the way the majority of us are going, or leading to believe, with these nightmare animatronics are, they probably won't look like that unless it's maybe a certain something has happened in the gameplay. Some sort of mechanic is making you believe this is what they look like.
Oh, I see, yeah. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, and especially with the old teaser of the Freddys, the little Freddles coming out of the body. Do you think actually that this Bonnie teaser picture is going to have something where, you know, is it just going to be the animatronic, or is there going to be like another tactic for this animatronic as well? Interesting,
yeah. We don't really see much of a body shot for this one, do we? It's quite, That's very interesting because this guy's got like a similar endoskeleton, so we obviously know he's from kind of like the similar era as to this Nightmare Freddy. And if this Nightmare Freddy's got these smaller little Freddy guys, you know, it makes you think, what does this guy have that's going to make him unique in his kind of defense mechanism, more unique to him?
Definitely.
Scott's very clever about what he shows us and what he doesn't. He was very clear about showing us the Freddles on the Nightmare Freddy teaser, but he wasn't very he was very hidden with the 5 fingers. However, on this one, he shows us the 5 fingers, none of the chest down below. So there's gonna be something important down there. We just don't know what.
So I suppose the next question we should be answering in regards to this is, we've seen Nightmare Freddy and now we've seen Nightmare Bonnie. Do you guys think there will be any more?
Well, we did a previous video suggesting that, you know, the only animatronics that said "It's me" in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 were Bonnie, Freddy, and Foxy. Cheeky doesn't seem to play a role in this, so I believe that maybe Foxy will be another Nightmare character, definitely, because I can imagine the horror that Scott could create with him. But I was also thinking that, I don't know why, but I had this image of Balloon Boy looking really demonic. Like really
but
horrifying.
Boy's one of these guys who's he's just entwined with the series, and we still don't know 100% who he is, or at least where he comes from, I suppose.
Yeah.
All we know is that his voice obviously has some weird significance with the purple guy who's inside of the Springtrap suit, and it seems to, for whatever reason, lure him in the direction to him. And yeah, there's a lot of questions that still haven't been answered in regards to that. I think the community is still interested as to why this is the case for Five Nights at Freddy's 3, definitely.
Yeah, because there's a lot surrounding the puppet as well. If we did get a nightmare puppet. I don't think anybody would be unhappy about that. So I really don't think it's going to be the last of the nightmare animatronics. These two are obviously going to be the main ones, maybe you could say that. Because we'll probably sort of move on to more about the costumes later on, but these two, being Spring Bonnie and Spring Freddy, were the two original ones that we kind of know of. So maybe they're similar around that sort of generation before Foxy and Chica and that got introduced.
Okay, I see what you mean,
Like, obviously, throughout the Five Nights at Freddy's series, the two most popular animatronics were Bonnie and Freddy, so obviously there's a reason behind this, like...
Yeah, Scott's always done this kind of weird hinting thing with the Bonnie especially, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, you know, saying that he had nightmares over Bonnie. And, oh, that's interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Okay. And he's always had this kind of thing with Freddy as well, hasn't he? I remember reading somewhere it's those two guys. That's actually very interesting. It's almost like maybe he's reenacting his nightmares. How about? Do you think that could be plausible?
Definitely.
Like, you know, I'm just thinking, like, he mentions the whole nightmare thing and how he had these nightmares and he used to, you know, reenact them whilst he was still asleep. And he used to say that Bonnie was a strong cause of that.
Yeah.
It makes you think maybe these animatronics have been inspired
from
from
I mean, throughout all the trailers
Yeah.
in Five Nights at Freddy's, Bonnie has been like a main guy within that. Like, the first shot you see is of Bonnie running down the hallway in Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Then in Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I thought, obviously, if you were to look at that trailer, you'd think that Five Nights at Freddy's, you'd see them move. But obviously it's a picture-based game, isn't it? So it's like...
Especially the, you know, the ending sequence where Bonnie takes off the face too.
Yeah.
That's interesting because it almost just looks like a bare endoskeleton. It looks like there's nothing stuffed inside, which I think is interesting because this kind of goes back to point in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 in the parts and services where all the heads can kind of turn to look at the camera. So maybe they're the stuffed animatronics and these other guys, these new ones, are just being directly influenced maybe by the puppet or something like that.
I think the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 establishment, obviously the children were still stuffed into those suits, I believe, because that's when I think the place was shut down for sanitation reasons with the oozing of the eyes and the odour and stuff like that. So I think they obviously they were discovered and they may have been taken out by then, but still the suits were still possessed by these children. So,
I see what you mean,
There's a lot still up in the air about what exactly happened to the bodies, how long the kids' bodies were in there. Did the company slyly get rid of them at some point to... Well, they stank. They couldn't have dead bodies in there, so if the company found them, they already mentioned in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, they'll clean the carpets up if somebody gets murdered, so they're more than likely gonna get rid of the bodies and, I don't know, just get rid of them somehow. So there's that. There's also people... Is there 6 kids dead? Is there 11 kids dead? That's still up in the air.
That's the big mystery, isn't it? I think that's definitely... We could probably dedicate a week to that one, I think. Like, just talking about that alone. That's a huge mystery, actually, isn't it?
Because I remember I didn't actually know this until the other day, but there was more victims in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 establishment. There was 5 victims in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 establishment from the minigame Save Them. You could see 5 dead bodies all around the establishment. And yet we know the murders to have taken place before that in the actual Freddy Fazbear Pizza with the Springtrap suits. So obviously there's been like about at least 10 murders by now. So this guy's a psychopath pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I suppose this kind of leads on to our next topic as well about these guys. Are they real?
Yeah.
You know, the whole nightmare thing. What do you guys think? Are these guys real, or are these just like hallucinations or some kind of almost like a dream-like animatronic, and they're just designed to be so evil and they look so out of place and evil just because they're strictly from a dream?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge comparison with we've said it in a past podcast with Freddy Krueger and Five Nights at Freddy's in general. But I was thinking that in Freddy Krueger the film, like, he's dead, but he can like attack you in your dreams. And if you die in a dream, you die in real life. So I don't know, maybe it could take on that kind of story where, you know, if you die in this nightmare mode, you're going to die in real life. Maybe there's going to be 2 separate kind of... I don't know, maybe instead of mini games, there's real life and then there's nightmare mode, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I see what you mean. So you mean when you die, you may be able to access this kind of unique sequence of almost like a mini game thing where you'd then see this version.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Yeah. So that's an interesting design. That reminds me of like Silent Hill or something almost.
Yeah.
You know, it's completely normal, and then
2 different kind of parallel
very
universes.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
I really hope they are real, because I think that would be even scarier if somebody has modified them, whether it's the Purple Man, whether it's somebody else that wants to go around killing people. Because
I think then the biggest question everyone will be asking is, how the hell did no one see this happening?
Yeah, because I mean, if these suits have been retired at some point, then somebody with access to the buildings, like a guard who has access to all the safe rooms, has the parts and services, could easily modify them to whatever way they want, and maybe they could do it that way. Or perhaps, if Scott wants to add a different mechanic in, but along a similar line as he already has done, is if you have some kind of, I don't know, like a sleep meter, whether you got to, if they are nightmares, you're working the night shift, perhaps you're getting tired, and I don't know, you have to pound espressos. Okay. Just something to keep you awake. Maybe the type of scenario you're in, you're tired and start hallucinating, and this could be where the nightmare feature comes into it. But I don't know, that could be quite a stretch. But Dawko has a great theory on the costume side of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you remember in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, you get the recordings of Phone Guy. Now there's something really, really interesting in what he says, and this is after the Springlock costumes have been taken away to be repaired. And he says, until replacements arrive, you'll be expected to wear the temporary costumes provided to you. Keep in mind that they were found on very short notice, so questions about appropriateness, relevance should be deflected. Now, if you think about there must be costumes as well, because they've got 5 fingers.
Very interesting. Yeah. Oh wow, that's a great point. Wow. It's when you revisit these things, isn't it? And then you hear these and you think, oh, now we're being presented with this, but from Scott. People are so confused. Maybe the evidence is right under our eyes and we're just not seeing it almost.
I read just a comment just now I'm reading from a guy called Stroper. Basically, he's saying that he's waiting just to find out that these animatronics were re-engineered and employed by the army, which is a very interesting theory. Like, maybe they could have been redesigned for, like, you know, killing people, but then were scrapped at the last minute. But yeah, I mean, imagine that. Imagine these guys coming out here, and then I'd run the other way, even if even if I had a gun, I'd just run the other way.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. Yeah.
Going back to what Dawko was saying about the replacement costumes, because he's talking about appropriateness, now we're not going to believe that these sharp-teethed monsters are coming in there with the big sharp nails. We're talking about probably what they mean by appropriateness is a different color. If you have a look at the Bonnie, if you highlight the image enough, well, not even enough, you just brighten the image a little bit, you will have a look at his right ear, the left as you look at it, it's purple up the top. So this is what we know and love as Bonnie's traditional color. If you have a look at Freddy, it's a little bit more up in the air about what color Freddy is. If you take away the red hue, he does kind of look golden, but until you do that, he does look brown. So that one's slightly more up in the air. But you could argue the appropriateness of the costume is simply just the color, because they're at the point they're used to 2 golden animatronics, and kids go along and they're like, "Mum, why is this bear covered in brown instead of gold?"
I agree.
Like you said though, these have to be different costumes than the ones from the past, because the gold, we still don't know what Spring Freddy is, you know, but we definitely think by now it's the Golden Freddy, because they're both together in the mini game. So these have been put away, which means if these are temporary costumes, they've got to be different as well with the relevance. But the thing is, I was interested in is that he doesn't say how many. So how you guys are saying there could be a Foxy one and a Chica one. There could be more than just Freddy and Bonnie with the costumes.
Yeah. It's definitely the key point there is, as you said, the costume part. Otherwise, he would have said animatronics.
Exactly.
So Scott is very clever with his words. So it's definitely, plus with the 5 fingers, got to be. It's definitely one you can sneak your way inside.
Yeah.
I think I agree. I just think something that's more interesting is, do you know the endoskeleton of these guys? If you look, this, you know, the sharp teeth kind of prevail into the endoskeleton design too, which I just think is really bizarre.
Yeah.
Even down to the robot's core, it's designed with terror in mind. It's really strange, very strange indeed.
Bonnie's teeth as well they're like shark teeth. They're not just jagged or slightly more demonic. Like they're sort of curved back the way. So if it was to bite into something, it would proper tear the flesh away, because it would hook itself in.
But the thing is about the realism as well, like if this is to do with the bite of 87 and like you said, it's someone hallucinating this stuff, there's a really good theory about that we're going to play as the victim of the bite, and because he's been bitten, he might imagine the animatronics to have much sharper teeth and scarier because he's the victim. Like how, I don't know if you, like I've saw things about people like exaggerating more over things if they've been affected by it in the past, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
fear taking over.
Yeah.
Definitely.
what is it?
Absolutely.
It's not PT, it's PTSD, is that right? Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, yeah.
So
that's right.
even if it wasn't the victim of the bite of 87, if it's somebody that's witnessed it, or saw their friends or a family member be bit, and you're gonna have nightmares over that because you can visualize it. You can see these glowing red eyes in the darkness as you're trying to get to sleep.
Yeah. 100% agree on that. That's a very interesting point. Yeah. I think the last point of this whole video is just probably talking about the whole "was it me" thing, because this is, I think, in the Five Nights at Freddy's community at the minute, this is probably one of the more up-to-date debatable topics. You know, I thought to myself about this whole "was it me" thing, and it's that's a question, but if you think about the "it's me," that's more of a reply to a question. So you know, it's a bit two ways with this one. I mean, these guys are asking the questions almost like a rhetorical question even. So, you know, it leaves answers. Is this in relation to the "it's me" thing, or is this a totally different thing that they're kind of going along here?
Yeah.
You've just got to remember though that this is in Scott's teaser view, you know. This isn't implemented in the game like "it's me." Like, do you know Guess Who for Balloon Boy? For the teaser, that wasn't implemented in the game at all. You see?
Exactly. Yeah. And the 10's still a floating mystery, isn't it? A little bit. I think the only plausible thing I can think about this 10 thing is just it was saying the month of the Five Nights at Freddy's 4, but that's it, and that still doesn't seem too viable because it's not very precise at all.
Exactly.
So that's still a very floaty one, and I think that's really all there is for that whole "was it me" thing. I think sometimes people can get a bit carried away and they can focus on it a little bit too much. You have to remember it's still just a little teaser, and you know, Scott's probably not as serious as people might think it might mean, like the deeper meaning within.
No, so I was just thinking that, you know, it could be something within Five Nights at Freddy's 4 that we don't even know about yet. I mean, there could be a certain thing that happens within the game that maybe the phone guy tells you about, and like they're there trying to figure it out whilst the game's going on.
Maybe more or less something like something gets salvaged within the night or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And
maybe it's maybe for all we know, it could be we haven't heard these phone guy dialogues. They could be like, you know, saying, one of the animatronics has been doing this and we can't figure out which one it is, and then the "was it me" straight away falls into that category. It can answer a whole multitude of questions, and I think understanding it may not just relate to the "it's me" solely is quite important with this whole thing.
It's like the way he likes to put double meanings in a lot of things as well and keep us guessing. At the moment, it's basically just pointing to the bite of 87, which is the animatronic that's done it. It sounds like we're going to be, whether we're based in 87 or the mini games are based in 87, we're going to find out potentially who done the bite of 87. If you go into the source code again for this picture, the 8s and the 7s are back. Just don't go Google mapping this one.
Yeah.
So there we have it then, guys. There's once again another episode of Theory Thursday for you all. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, be sure to like it. And hey, if you're new around here, why not subscribe to all of our channels to keep up to date with all Five Nights at Freddy's news and watch some awesome gameplay videos. So thank you very much for watching the video, guys. And we'll, of course, see you on the next one.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Want to see even more content from us?
Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future.
And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos?